Let's talk about names. We had the CEO of Nutmeg in here last week, Nick Hungerford. They're running a fabulous business, just raised $30 million. And he said they did 500 test names before they came up with Nutmeg.
Wow.
And they ran like all the numbers, and they had, I guess, a few choices they could do. I think he broke it down in 3 ways. One was like a name that's associated with the brand. One was something else. And then one was a very generic name like an Amazon or a Nutmeg or something. And he was really serious about that name and it being so important. How do you feel about names? And how do you name storm? I never heard that, name storm.
Yeah, I mean, God, it's one of the hardest things that you have to do. I mean, when I used to consult, so before I started at Microsoft, I was running my own kind of branding and marketing consultancy called Branding Matters, and I used to get paid to come up with names for companies, and it's very hard. So after I did a few of them, I just kept putting my rates up and up, because it's bloody hard, and every URL is gone, and this kind of thing. But I think it's hugely important, how you put your brand forward, and a name is only part of that brand language and that overall kind of envelope that is your brand. But I think it's really important, and I see a lot of names come through that aren't massively inspiring, and I see some that are really good. But it's a big one.
Have you ever been wrong about a name, and can you think of that name? Or have you seen a name and you're like, there's no way, Amazon, what does that mean?
Oh gosh, I might have to come back to you on that one.
Enough.
I'll give that some thought.
Is there any kind of rule of thumb with names? Is it like don't make it too long, or don't make it too specific, or is there anything you usually tell people? Is there a rule?
Well, I mean, everybody always every client I've ever had doing naming, they always want the one syllable name.
Okay.
That's what they always, a one syllable name. That's
then
what
all
want.
the domains are taken. Then you got
it's incredibly hard. And I think the thing I always encourage is that you have to actually set some guidelines up, so that because you can come up with loads of names, and if you don't know how you're going to evaluate them, then it's kind of a wasted exercise. So I really encourage during that process to really put that list of how you're going to evaluate the name. So what are the things that are important? Does it have to bring out a certain, a particular aspect of the brand? Maybe if they want it to be, short or catchy, or maybe they want it to also be able to be used as a verb. There are certain things that, that you're going to hold up, and if you've got that list of names, you can kind of say, okay, does it do these things? Ultimately, sometimes it just comes down to a gut feeling.
And we usually go with the test audience and try some people and double-blind test and that kind of thing. We usually do that.
I think it's good to do that. I think it's really good to do that. It depends on the budgets and whatever. But the guys I was helping, the team I was helping last week, I've suggested that they just buy some AdWords, put up a couple of just kind of one-page holding pages with the different names, and test out some messages, and then whichever one gets the most. So it's quite a low-cost way of just triaging it.
Didn't Tim Ferriss do that to name his book or something?
Yeah, Ryan Holiday did it to name his book, definitely.
Right.
And Ferriss might. He's big into A/B testing, so I think he did, and his cover as well. So he put a bunch of covers. I think he actually, for the 4-Hour Workweek, I think he made up his own covers and stuck them on the bookshop, and then he just went in there and stuck them up there and saw if anybody walked by and pulled up the book, without them knowing. I think he did that.
Right.
So.
But actually, it just made me think, because one of the new teams coming in is a company called Would You? Okay. And they're basically an app for the indecisive. So basically, it's like would you, wouldn't you kind of thing. So you could actually do some brand testing or test your book cover, on Would You, and you can just crowdsource, whether people would or wouldn't, I suppose. So that could be quite fun.
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now.
How can anybody sign up, publish an event, and start selling tickets in a matter of minutes? We love the notion of people gathering. We really thought about low friction. We want to be that cable TV of live experiences. We basically broke all the startup rules. It's fairly insane to go into a business venture with your fiance. My advice, to any 20-year-old or fledgling entrepreneur is to not listen to their parents. Do something really incredible.